Sometimes the most confusing kind of pain is not when someone leaves your life, but when they stay just enough to slowly disappear. There is no clear ending, no argument, no single moment where you can say, "This is where everything changed." Instead, it happens quietly, until one day you realize that the connection you once had doesn't feel the same anymore. At first, the change is subtle. Their replies get shorter, their tone feels distant, and the effort they once showed starts to fade. You try to ignore it because nothing serious has really happened, yet something feels off. Over time, that feeling gets stronger. Conversations that once felt natural start to feel forced, and comfort turns into uncertainty. You begin to notice that you are the one initiating more, trying more, and thinking more about the connection. And that is when the confusion begins. Because when someone leaves clearly, you can process it. You can feel the pain, understand what happened, and slowly move forward. But when someone distances themselves without explaining, they leave you in a space where nothing is fully clear, and that lack of clarity keeps your mind searching for answers. You start replaying conversations in your head, trying to find where things went wrong. You question your words, your actions, even your intentions. But the problem is not just the distance, it's the silence that comes with it. Silence makes you create your own explanations, and most of the time those explanations turn inward. You start blaming yourself even without real evidence. But here is something important many people overlook. When someone distances themselves without explaining, it is usually not because they don't have a reason. It is because they are not willing or able to communicate it. Honest communication takes emotional effort. It means sitting with discomfort, being clear about your feelings, and taking responsibility. Not everyone can do that. For many people, distance feels easier than honesty. Instead of explaining, they slowly reduce their presence and hope the connection fades on its own. But while distance may feel easier for them, it creates a deeper kind of pain for the person on the other side. Because when there is no explanation, the mind keeps searching for one. That is why distance without closure often feels more painful than a direct ending. It is also important to understand that not all distance comes from the same place. Sometimes people are confused about their emotions or dealing with personal struggles. And sometimes the truth is simpler. They no longer feel the same connection, but don't have the courage to say it. No matter the reason, one thing stays the same. Distance is still a decision. Even if it happens slowly, it still shows a choice about how much space someone wants between you and them. Realizing this can change how you see the situation. Instead of asking what you did wrong, you begin to see that the lack of communication reflects their emotional capacity. Not everyone knows how to handle relationships with honesty and clarity. And this is where you need to be careful. If you keep looking for closure from someone who avoids giving it, you will stay stuck. At some point, the healthiest thing you can do is to stop chasing answers that are not being given. It doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid. It simply means you are choosing to protect your peace. With time, you start to realize something important. The right people don't confuse you about where you stand. They communicate, stay consistent, and make their place in your life feel certain, not questionable. So when someone chooses distance instead of honesty, it tells you something valuable. Not about your worth, but about their ability to maintain a meaningful connection. And sometimes, the closure you are looking for doesn't come from a final conversation. It comes from accepting that their silence was already an answer. Because in the end, people may not always tell you how they feel, but they will show you through their actions.